morning, everyone. Welcome back to Riverside Talk. Today's topic is a breath of fresh air supporting lung health. Before we begin our program, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Denise Mananis. I'm the AVP of External Affairs for St. John's Riverside Hospital. And I would also like to introduce and thank my team of producers. Jason Latore is our media production manager and producer of this event. Nancy Anabi is our community liaison, and she works diligently to connect us to many community organizations to be able to get this webinar out to the community. And Candace Cousins-Hopkins is our Associate Director of External Affairs, and she just does everything else. So thank you to all of you for making this possible. Before we introduce our speaker today, I would like to acknowledge our original partners, Yonkers Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community and the Yonkers Public Library, as well as welcome our new partners, and that is the Ashling Irish Community and Cultural Center, the Department of Veterans Services, the City of Yonkers, Ardsley Parks and Recreation, Ardsley Senior Center, Bronxville Community Center, the City of Yonkers, Community Baptist Church, Hastings Community Center, Irvington Community Center, Westchester Jewish Community Services, and Yonkers Pathways to Success. Also, I invite any of our attendees today, if they have questions, feel free to type them into the chat. If we don't cover that during our conversation with our speaker today, with our guest today, then I will check them and I will ask those questions at the end of the discussion. So without further ado, I would like very much to introduce you today to Christine Jafilan, who is a registered respiratory therapist at St. John's. Christine attended Westchester Community College with an associate's in applied science and respiratory therapy. She has worked at St. John's Hospital for almost 18 years. She has many years of clinical experience throughout patient care areas, from the nursery to the ICU. Christine says the most rewarding part of her job is helping people breathe easier. That alone makes a huge difference in people's lives. So welcome, Christine, to our program.
Thanks, Denise.
To start, I actually wanted to talk about this. We've just come out of such a sort of miserable flu, COVID, again, another spike of COVID, and RSV, which has shown up in adults. And I know that all of those respiratory illnesses have impacted many of the people in our community, as well as people who are in our community who are dealing with other kinds of lung diseases. So let's start our discussion with this question. The patients that qualify, and we're going to talk specifically about pulmonary rehab today. Who qualifies for pulmonary rehab? Those people with those kinds of illnesses, or people with lung disease, or all of the above?
So patients that qualify for the rehab program are patients who have usually lung diseases that are obstructive and restrictive lung diseases. And those patients, those categories come in stages. So we have mild, moderate, or severe. And we also have patients that we see that are in need of a lung. So we do lung transplant patients. They're required to participate in the program before getting the lung. So,
well, that's very interesting. Okay. So what are the most common respiratory illnesses that you see in the patients that you're treating, both as an inpatient and also as an outpatient?
So those respiratory diseases that I was talking about that come in moderate, mild, and severe, they're like COPD, ILD, which is interstitial lung disease, sarcoidosis, asthma, CHF, post-COVID. These are all diseases that we take care of and manage throughout the hospital and in the program.
So that's very interesting. So congestive heart failure, you said, interstitial, say that one again?
Interstitial lung disease, ILD.
Okay, and then the COP is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
That's an obstructive.
What about emphysema?
Emphysema is part of the COPD category, yes.
Okay, all right. And so obviously you're seeing
asthma.
So talk to me about so you're seeing people with long COVID or people who have acute COVID now who are qualifying?
So we're seeing patients that had COVID and their symptoms are still active and they're feeling that shortness of breath. Their activities at home are making them weak, tired, can't breathe. Even if it was just doing the laundry or going upstairs, and they're like, what's going on with me? I'm not feeling well. And so they come to the program and we help decondition them, improve their shortness of breath, exercise, and work with them to improve that.
That's very interesting. So, all right, let's step back and sort of talk through the process. I'm a person in the community that has maybe COVID, maybe COPD. I'm under the care of my primary care doctor, but I don't, to your point, I don't feel well. So talk to me about pulmonary rehab and what that looks like and how people can access the program.
So people access the program. First, we need to get a referral from their physician, their doctor. So once we get that referral from the physician, we have to get insurance verification, and we need a pre-authorization. So that allows us to see how many visits they're able to be in the program for. So anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months, usually. Once we get all that information, we need a medical clearance, cardiac clearance, and the doctor, we have a medical director of the program, pulmonologist. He will approve them into the program. And once they are approved, we'll keep in touch with the patient. We talk to them about our visits and how long they need to come for. And so our total time depends on, we have a schedule. So very convenient. They can come 2 to 3 times a week, about an hour session each. Right. And we start the program with them.
So let's step back for a second. When the physician makes the referral into the program, what testing are they doing to determine whether or not they qualify and can make that referral?
So they need to get a medical and cardiac clearance, but okay. We need to also get CBC. We need to get a pulmonary function test. We need to do a 6-minute simple stress test for them. All these tests help us determine if they qualify, and it determines the severity of their disease and if they're mild, moderate, and severe. And we'll get a nice baseline of, how we go about it. Okay. But the medical director does have to look over and review their chart.
All right, so you have people who have mild, moderate, and severe disease levels. Mm-hmm. So if you are approved for the program, tell me what happens. My first day, I come in. What do I do? What's going on?
So the first day we sit and we do not work out. Usually there's a workout session, but we sit and we provide the patient with all these tools and necessary information, educate them on the program. We take vitals, we show them the equipment, we work with them, we show them instructional videos, and we just have a good baseline of each other, make them feel comfortable before they start the program. Okay,
so now when they start it, so it's an exercise program. So yes. What kind of equipment are people using, and is there monitoring yes. going on?
So during the program, there is monitoring with a registered respiratory therapist such as myself. And again, we have a medical director that oversees the program. And we have equipment. So we do stretches, we do bands, we do treadmills, we do stationary, we have bikes, arm machines, Stairmaster, many different machines, but we have to get a feel of the patient. We try them out on different equipment. We look and monitor their exercise and their vitals while they're on the machine. So we have a baseline of what we need to do. And as they go through the program, we can make changes and increase and reevaluate.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about the qualifications of the professionals who are overseeing? So someone such as yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would be me. Actually, I'm there a couple of days a week also, and we have other registered respiratory therapists that work alongside with the patient. And we also have a group of pulmonary doctors, and one of them is our medical director of the program.
So when you're with, is it one registered respiratory therapist in the room always with, is there more than one patient, or is it a one-on-one, or is it a 4-on-1? How does that work?
So the good thing about the program is we do have more than one person exercising at the same time. And it's good because they communicate and they make friends. Actually, it's like a bond. They all talk about what's going on with them and about their lives, and we encourage that. And it's me alone or another respiratory therapist, whoever's in that day. But if we do have about more than 4 people at one time, we will get an extra person down there. We don't like to leave patients on treadmills alone or equipment by themselves.
Okay, that's great, because I do think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that there's, if you're somebody who has moderate or severe symptoms, breathlessness and or cardiac issues, you want a sense of comfort that someone's keeping an eye on you.
We give them extra care, extra attention. And when we schedule our patients, we kind of have certain days and we'll know what our workload is for that day to see what help we need. Or extra hands we need for that day.
Okay. So how do you assess when someone goes through the program? How are you assessing success?
So basically, the effectiveness of the program is assessed through measures of their exercise capacity. And like I said, so we do, before entering the program, we do a pulmonary function test, we do a simple stress test, it's a walking test, and then we assess them, evaluate them then, and then prior to completion of the program, we repeat, and the medical director will then reevaluate and see if there's further need of continuing with the program.
So are there goals set and then measured through the course of the program? In other words, if I come in the first day and I have these issues and I do that 6-minute walking stress test and I don't do that well, I'm out of breath and it's, kind of, and then the goal is set for me to do 6 minutes till I feel really good. Do we then, is it?
So the 6-minute test is basically a walking test to determine if they need oxygen or how long they walked for feet wise and what can they do if they stopped, if they kept walking. Right. And at one point we stop them if they're unable to do it. This also tells us they need oxygen during the workout. And if we have to reassess, we'll measure and, to show improvement, we'll see if they lessened with the oxygen, if they took more steps, more feet. So we'll watch them, and that we'll set a goal for that.
Right. So there are incremental changes during the course of the program to kind of make them get to the next goal, the next step.
Yes, and we increase their capacity on the machines and equipment also to help.
Okay. So now, whether I had long COVID and or some kind of lung disease issue, how do I, now I finished the program. So now how do I go from having made all of this progress to maintaining it and actually keep it moving forward? Is there a plan for when I leave and then I get to, I can follow it on my own? What's the way, how do we do that?
So we recommend that the patients continue personalized home exercising at home. So we'll give them material. We provide them with tools, information, resources. We hopefully encourage them to continue at home and personalize their home exercise to the best of their ability, the things that they learned in the program, and also maybe write things down to see where they're at and how they improve. And they can always call us, and it's good to keep things written down to follow and see how they're doing throughout the process and take what they learned from the program at home.
Is it true that if you've made progress, no matter what your issue is, and you stop the exercise and you finish the rehab, but you don't maintain some form of it, can you see people regress?
Yes, for sure.
Oh, okay. So the incentive then is to keep going, is to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So is there a way that they can continue to come in and see their exercise friends? Or, is there something that is recommended to them to continue? Because sometimes doing it at home, while it sounds good, may not be conducive for a lot of patients. So what's the recommendation?
So we do have Okay, so we do have options for patients where we have support groups if they need any type of like reinforcement. And also we do have a self-pay basis. If they enjoy the program and they want to continue at an affordable price, they're able to come back 2 to 3, even 4 days a week we're allowed to come continue with the program.
Okay, so that's interesting. Do you know, I'm just going to ask this, do you know if there are any local resources that they can move their exercise if they don't want to come into the hospital, or if that's not as convenient for them? But are there local?
So a couple of people that were in the program, they do join gyms and continue at the gym, or they'll buy like a hand machine or a leg machine at home from Amazon. But again, if you don't need to join the gym, if you feel comfortable continuing with us, they can do so.
Okay, so that's really great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even
so
outdoor walking, videos. Some people do that home videos on YouTube.
Right. So are there tips that you teach your patients about how to take better care of their lungs other than the exercise, or in conjunction with the exercise?
So we encourage them to exercise. That's important. And while they're exercising, we want to reduce their effects of deconditioning and inactivity. So we want to make sure we're increasing exercise activity that lessens their shortness of breath. And by doing that, we encourage and educate them on pursed lip breathing. There's special breathing techniques that we reinforce during the program.
Really?
Yes.
Do many of us, so I don't want to have you demonstrate those, but do you find that people doing the pulmonary function test, that's part of the pre-testing that occurs, and then before they complete the program, it's retested? Do you find that people struggle with that, just generally doing those kinds of tests?
Doing the test in general, they do struggle. I can't say if after the program, if it makes it easier for them to do it. It's just breathing maneuvers. But the breathing maneuvers during exercises are a little different than while you're doing the pulmonary function test.
Can you tell me what those are, the breathing maneuvers?
So one of them is pursed lip breathing, we call it. So it's like we have a saying, smell the roses, blow the candles. So you're taking a short, deep breath in, but you're blowing the candle, so it's a little longer on the exhalation.
Okay. Now, is that actually considered an exercise?
It's a breathing technique while they're working
out. While they're exercising.
Even while they're walking and moving around. We have one of the lung diseases, COPD, so it's good to do the pursed lip breathing for that. Helps exhale all the volume out of their lungs.
So even people who have those kinds of level of illness do see improvement?
For sure. Yes, we do.
So it affects their quality of life, for sure.
Yes, it does. It helps. So we encourage this because it improves their daily life activities, like struggling cooking. We have patients struggling doing laundry, going upstairs, taking care of their grandkids. So all this is helping them, like I said, lessen their deconditioning and inactivity and improving their shortness of breath at the same time.
Very interesting. There's no waiting list to get into pulmonary rehab, is there?
There's no waiting list, but I do have to say you have to just be a little patient for us to get the medical clearance, the cardiac clearance, based on, it's not us. We have to deal with the doctors and the offices and the insurance, but other than that, it'll go quick once you're in the program.
Okay. Well, that sounds really great. Did I leave something out here? So other than the gyms, joining a gym, are there other community sources or support for people who have lung disease that they can access, or is it really just exercise driven?
So I'm glad you said that, because we do continue with support groups here. So we do encourage patients to, after they finish the program, to join a support group or call us, and we'll encourage them to come in. So we could be with the patient and the families. We do instructional videos. We provide them with more education.
Really?
Yes, and they can call us anytime. And also, it's a good way to what was the word I'm using? Re-encourage or reteach them and anything they had from the
Keep
program.
it fresh.
Yes, keep it fresh. Or any
Yeah.
questions or.
That's very interesting. I've worked here a very long time and I did not know that. So look at that, shame on me.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So you actually hold support groups. Are they regular or are they just as needed? How does that work?
As needed.
As
and
needed.
You know, the funny thing is you say that because one of the patients does not live here. So, okay, so actually 2 weeks ago, she called the rehab department downstairs. So unfortunately she had to move and she misses us so much and she keeps in touch. And she called me the other day when I was downstairs and she just likes to connect and we discuss, you know, how she's doing, how she's feeling, and we talk about family, but we form a bond with these patients, which is really nice. And they do keep in touch and they actually ask about their friends in the program. And, you know, it's like a family down there. After you've been there for so many weeks, we connect. So it's really nice.
You know, I'm so happy that that's how we're going to end this program because honestly, I think that that's such a beautiful testament to the people that work at St. John's, and certainly it's true for the people in your department, but it's true for a lot of the departments at St. John's, and I can get away with saying that because I've been here a long time. I know a lot of the people, and I know how truly committed everyone is to the welfare of their patients, and not just the physical welfare. So I really appreciate you, and thank you for sharing the information about this program. You know, I forgot one thing. When you talked about the medical director signs off on the patient for going in, right? But they don't see the patient necessarily. They don't have another doctor's visit.
No. So the medical director of the program is just in charge of the program. And if we ever need him to attend any of our support groups or come in touch with these patients, he's more than able to come in and he will speak and encourage.
And who is the medical director?
Dr. Joseph Brill.
Yes, Dr. Brill, the famous Dr. Brill. Yeah.
And a lot of the patients, he refers a lot of patients. So a lot of them already know him and they see him in the office anyway.
Okay. That's wonderful. But so referrals come from pulmonologists, or they can come from primary care, or how does that, cardiologists?
Cardiologists, pulmonologists, pulmonary care, any doctor.
All right. So if patients want to speak and bring it up as something to their physician, they should feel empowered to advocate for themselves and suggest this to their doctors, to ask for a referral to get them into the program.
They should, and we see a lot of patients that don't know about the program, and we have a lot of patients, outpatients, that come in here for pulmonary function tests, sleep apnea screening, and we do a simple stress test on a lot of patients, and we encourage them, if we find that they could use some help, we'll give them a pamphlet, we'll give them some information, and we encourage them to come in.
Sounds great. I really appreciate you, Christine. Thank you for being with us today.
Anytime.
And thank you all in our audience today. I think we've answered all of their questions. And before we end our program, if anyone in our community would like more information on St. John's Riverside Hospital's Pulmonary Rehab Program, the number for that program is 914-798-8909. If anyone is out in the community and still concerned about coming into physician offices and has a sense of insecurity and would rather start their seeing a physician, they are more than welcome to call our virtual urgent care, which is 914-207-0006. Ask for the virtual urgent care. They will make an appointment for you, and then a telemedicine appointment will be set up for you. If you have any other questions, rather than the phone numbers, I'm going to give you info@riversidehealth.org. If you need a physician referral, find a doc at riversidehealth.org. Both of those emails come to me. And if you have questions about this program or you need a doctor, I'm happy to answer those emails and get them to the right people so that you can get the information that you need. We do, by the way, now have a new Spanish physician referral line. I just want to point that out. So if you are making a phone call, 914-964-4DOC, which is the English line, and 914-964-4245 is the Spanish line. And with that, I do believe we are finished for the day, and we appreciate you and thank you. We'll see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.